I live here in Curve Lake with my husband. My two boys are old enough now. They've left the nest, and I miss them very much. And but to formally introduce myself, Nimkika Paneshi Kwandishna Kozma Gagdodem Ashkikamang Donjaba. So I gave you my Nishnaba name, and my clan is the White Porcupine, and the traditional name for Curve Lake is Ashkikamang. It actually doesn't mean Curve Lake. It actually refers to the original settlers of this community back in 1887, that referred to the usually native people. What we do is we identify prominent, parts of the land that are, very obvious. And we're on our community is located on a peninsula between two lakes. And on the north side is Buckhorn Lake, and on the south side is Shimon Lake. And Shimon, prior to the building of the Trent Severn waterways, which are the locks in between the lakes going from Bobcaygeon all the way to Lake Ontario, actually, is the water on the Shimon side was very shallow, and it was muddy. So originally, our community in English was referred to as Mud Lake. And but Mud Lake, yeah. In 1963, the year I was born, it was changed to Curve Lake, referring to our ability to drive a boat from one lake and curving into the next. Get it? Yeah. So my native name as well has to do with the water feature. I'm the Nimki Kapaneshi, so the Thunderbird woman. And I was given that name quite a few years ago, maybe like 94, by an elder who had a dream of me. And so I was given that name formally in a ceremony here in Curve Lake, surrounded by my parents, my friends, all my family. Yeah, it was fun. It was great. So today, how I'm going to start in honor of World Water Day is to share a teaching about the water. It's the first part of our Ojibwe creation story that I learned from a local elder here, who is part of the Medewan Lodge, which is almost like a formal elite traditional ceremonial house. Yeah, that was originally introduced by Eddie Benton Benabun back in the 60s. Yeah, so everybody's him and many other elders can be accredited for bringing back all this beautiful culture and language and ways of being as an Indigenous person. So many of us recognize many elders that helped with that. And as a young person, a youth mostly, I would travel around Canada and the United States. I really worked towards learning this little bit of information that I have. And not only that, my parents, my dad in particular, are both Curve Lake band members of the Mississauga Ojibwe, Ashkik Mongsh and Kadet. And so I'm going to tell you a story. But first, in honor of International Water Day, I'm going to do a water blessing and a prayer. I have this little pail, made of copper, and to me it represents the copper pail, which is much bigger than this, that we use when we do our water walks on Mother's Day weekend here in this area. We were inspired by the water walks of grandmother Josephine Mandaminbun. She's passed away now Wow, it's been 3 years now. Yeah, we really miss her. So, and she taught us many things, but she also joined us on many of our walks. And so, yeah, it was quite amazing. She was a fiercely independent woman. Like when we asked her to come and help us with our walk here, when we did the Upper Shimon Lake, which is the lake that Curve Lake is situated on, back in 20, I don't know when exactly, but you know, she was alone in her pickup truck and she would drive here. She did the work with us for 2.5 long days. It's not easy work. It's very difficult work when you're walking for the water. And she decided, she said, we said, please stay one more night just to rest up. And, don't leave like right now. I promised somebody I have to be somewhere in tomorrow. So that's the, trait of a true elder. Like they don't disappoint if they can help it. So after our feast, she jumps in the truck after saying goodbye to everybody. And then off she goes, and didn't she split the van? And she was driving back to Thunder Bay, from Curve Lake to Thunder Bay. So that's not an easy trip to do alone after a full weekend of work, traditional work. Yeah. So anyways, that was she survived. Her car didn't, but she did. Yeah, she would do things like that. And even her last water walk that she was on, that she organized, she was very crippled with arthritis, and her body was a little bit, twisted because of the work that she does for the water, and so, but it took them a month to walk the last water walk, a month, and she couldn't walk anymore for the water, but she organized everybody who was walking on a daily basis, and she drove the rented van. Yeah, so that was she was fiercely, and then she died of cancer not 2 years ago. So yeah, it's pretty sad. We couldn't believe it. It was hard for us to do that. Another one of our esteemed elders gone. Yeah, the ones that people like myself learned from. So that's been happening a lot lately, unfortunately. So let's do a water blessing first. My little copper. I'm going to explain a little bit more about the copper in the teachings. Naha Busho, Gajaminado, Nimki Kapanashikwa, Dishnakazo Bagagdodem, Chimiquach, Gajamnado, Gazagan, Ginsakausha Tuyan Gamizion, Minawagamina Pamazion, Chimiquach, Ishkakamikwe, Ginsakausha Tuyan Gamizion, Minawaga, Mshkike, Nasewin. Bigwachka au Gitchitwanabe, the Namata Minsa Inabe, Shanat Toyan Inabe, we do Quishnan, Chikin Dwandaman Inabe, Panakam Nagame, Miquach Kajamnado, Minawaga, Mquashka Dad Yang Maga, Gitchitwanaben, Kinamageka, Chimigwach, Nok Missak, Mishomsak, Kinawamatabiak, O De Wabanang, O De Shaunang, O De Nababana, or de Giwadnan, get a Geminin, Ganad Moyak. Chimiguach Minawaga, no Miskisas, Guching, the Bikak, Chimiguach Canodwian, keep us in Wian, Kinamayan, Aha, Iguach. So that's another one of the teachings from grandmother, is to your original cup is your hand. So you bring that to your lips. Yeah. and I symbolically pour some more back into onto the. I'm doing it the floor, but it symbolically means I'm giving a little bit back to Mother Earth, the blessed water that we just blessed. So this is the first part of the Mississauga Ojibwe creation story of the, not Mississauga specifically, but the Anishinaabe Nation as a whole. This is the story that I learned, and so it's how it begins. As in the beginning, there was only darkness, blackness, nothingness, the great abyss of darkness. What existed in the darkness was the one we call Gajamanado, Creator God. Creator God became lonesome and said, I think I will create something that is so beautiful that I will forever, now and forever, admire and look upon. And in that darkness, in that blackness of nothingness, the first sound of unconditional love by Creator God sounded like this. What was created was the Nunziwabo. Nunziwabo is the waters, are the waters of the stars, the cosmos, the universe, the galaxy. It is those waters that created those beautiful stars that we look upon on a clear, dark night, and that shine and come into our orbit sometimes. Those what do you call them? Those stars that are, I'm at a blank right now, but like they have little tails on it. Comets is what I'm trying to say. So the comets, they're made of water, and as in addition to precious metals such as nickel and copper. And then, you know, if you don't believe me, you might think this is a fairy tale story, and of course it is, but it does have a basis of truth in it. And if you were to Google water of the universe or water of the galaxy, you would know, and they will show you. It'll show you the information regarding the water that's in space. Yeah, it's quite fascinating. So nothing could begin first unless there was water in outer space that we call outer space. The next thought of unconditional love by Creator God sounded. And that was Mite Wabo. Mite Wabo is spirit water. It is that water that I put into that little copper pail vessel and prayed for. It is the women of Mother Earth, not only Indigenous, but all colors of men, women who are responsible for this water. And you might ask, of course, why is it that women have to be responsible for water? Because it is well known and that water is life to all life. No life begins and no life can be maintained without that water of life. It is the women that are referred to as the creators. We can hold life in our wombs in gestational for 9 solid months, usually 9. And it's that baby is created with water and created in our wombs within the embryonic fluid. And when that baby's about to be born, what comes first? My water has broken. That's our phrase. The water has broken. And that means then that that it is the water of the spirit, the water that is life, and the water that women carry our babies for 9 months before they are born and take the first breath is life. Without that awesome and powerful obligation that we have as women, there is nothing more powerful than the power of creation in this experience that we are living here in Shkakamekwe, Mother Earth, Mother Earth. And the other symbol that affects the water, in addition to, we refer to as Grandmother Moon. As you know, it is the moon that affects the tides of this earth, this planet. So again, the moon and the earth work together for the waters. Yeah. And so we as women, because there are no families, community, or nations without this awesome power of creation for the community, then there would be no life on this planet as we know it. And so it's really important that we recognize our personal power in doing the work that we do, and the work that we do for the water. Yeah, use that responsibility and that awesome power of creation that we have to work for the water. And well, what do you mean work for the water, you might say? And that is speaking for the water. What I did in that little water blessing, and we refer to in Ojibwe country anyways, is speaking for the water. It's always the women that pray. And many of us may be in positions of power influence that make decisions on behalf of the water for the people, may be able to influence the governments and the corporations to treat water more responsibly. Because it's my opinion, and I think you would agree with me, that we are in a process, in the crisis of temporary insanity when we are poisoning the water that is the lifeblood of Mother Earth and the life for life as we know it. You know, if you even try to go at one day without a sip of water from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and not have any water till the morning, you know how uncomfortable that is. You really feel that lack of water in your system. Yeah, so water is very important. The next thought of unconditional love. Dodo wabo. Dodo wabo in Ojibwe. I'm not. Yeah, it means the breast of the woman, and here the breast refers to our water relationship with Mother Earth. She provides us our life and everything that we need to keep our life, and food, shelter, clothes, etc., etc. And it is those that the oceans and the rivers and the lakes and even the water that falls from the sky, that is that water of Mother Earth, that sacred water. And it's also our belief as Indigenous people that water has a spirit, water is alive, and water has memory. It is the water that we drink today out of bottles, I might add, that was originally drank by maybe, let's say, the dinosaurs. Yeah, just imagine the same water you drink today was drank by the dinosaurs. So, and we believe as Indigenous people and the teachings of those elders, because of that memory, that the water can return to its original pristine state. But we must and should continue to work from that we don't cause the water harm or pollute it. Many years ago when I was young, my family had my grandparents had a family cottage on a little lake not north of Curve Lake, which is called Lovesick Lake. And it was a little trapping cottage when my dad was a boy, and it's turned into a family cottage over the years. Scow Rock, we called it, was an island. And one day, and one morning, we in the summertime, it was middle of July, we went out early in the morning in our canoe, and we went and fishing, and the sun was just starting to come up, and the mist was on the water, and you could hear the loons in the background coming from the mist. And my dad said, "Appreciate the beauty of this water, Dorothy, and remember that nothing should go into the water that's not originally there." So originally was sewage in the water, garbage, plastic, chemicals, sewage raw or even treated. It really doesn't make sense. And it's, I really believe that we're in a state of, like I said, collective insanity, that we do that to our water. So we really have to watch it and care for that water. But you'll say, well, I'm just a diabetic, or I'm too old, I'm too young, or, I can't do it. Well, of course you can. And all you have to do at the very minimum on a daily basis is to take that water every morning, the first drop of water that you have to drink in the morning. And that would just hold it up. And it was grandmother who did teach us this as well. Hold it up 4 times and say thank you in your Indigenous language or English or the origins, your country of origin, and just say thank you 4 times to that water. And this should be done on a daily basis, actually. And over time, the water actually hears us. The water will become medicine when you do that too. One elder said a long time ago, and it actually does work. I used to do this with my babies. If I didn't have access to medicine when my children were very sick, I would take this water, I would pray for the water, and I'd put it on the eastern window, and so that the morning sun would touch this water. Then I would give it to drink for my children, and their sore throats would disappear. Yeah. Or they'd feel so much better. And I'd say, yay, they can go to school today. Just kidding. I like it when my kids stay home. I used to really like it. I didn't mind summer at all. But so this is what we can do as individuals, is just to give thanks to that water. If you're by a body of water, Lake Ontario, or, Sharbet Lake, whatever lake that you're close by, just direct the thanksgiving towards that lake. The more we do it, the more we help to support that water. You'd be surprised at really how that affects the water. So there's a scientist, he passed away too many years ago, and grandmother was very upset about it, and she actually did a death ceremony for him, even though she never met the man. But his influence was profound. What was his name? Emoto from Japan. That's his last name, Emoto. And what he would do is he would take this water and he would direct negative words and positive words, and then he'd freeze the water and put the crystals under microscope to see what was created. So actually the most symmetrical and the most beautiful crystal that was created by a word was love and gratitude. When you said, I hate you, water, it would be distorted crystal. And even in terms of our music, did you know that heavy metal music is very bad for the water? Yeah. And classical is the best. Yeah. And of course, our own drum songs are awesome as well. I'm hot. But yeah, so that's what we can do. Each and every one of us can do that. I do that on a daily basis. I actually do that formal water, or if I'm someplace where I'm not able to take my traditional items, I is that right, Amy? Yeah. So yeah, I would use my coffee, my Tim Hortons coffee in the morning. I'd say thank you. So it could be water, orange juice, coffee, tea, whatever. It's fine. And then also the last thought of unconditional love by Creator. And what was created was Misko Wapple. Misko means red. And do you know what red water is? What would be the reference to red water? Correct. Our blood in our body. An adult has 5 liters of blood in our system. That's right. Blood is, yes, red water. And so the water that makes you and me sacred people, because we were created by a unconditional thought of love by Creator God, which is why we hold in high regard these little makers. So that's why they're very powerful songs that we sing with our shakers. And so because we are sacred people, and we have 5 liters of sacred water in our system, it's so important that we only have good thoughts about ourselves, that we only direct good feelings and thoughts about ourselves first, and also to others, of course. Kindness always to others. It's easy to lose our temper, some of us, and to say nasty things. People refer to me as a kind, gentle person. And I wasn't always like this, of course. It's just something that you work on over time, and then it becomes your embodiment. So always only have good vibes directed towards yourself. And I know that this works because this is what the elders said. In 2014, when we organized that international conference through the Sacred Water Circle, a community group that I helped found here in the Peterborough area and district. And we brought in international elders from both South America, United States, and all over from Canada. And we asked the elders for direction on how we could help the water and do the work for the environment. And I was expecting very specific direction. This project, that project, when and where. But pretty well every elder said how we will return to balance, and Mother Earth support it, and the waters return to pristine conditions, is if we can bring balance back into our own life. So just think of it for a minute. Each and every one of us, we're healed people that have high regard for ourselves. And so this work that we need to do for our grandchildren, our own children, and those yet to be born, so that they will be born into a place not of chaos, danger, and lack of fresh water and food and air, but actually a place that would be a place of, goodness. And this is the work that we must do for the water. And we can't do it if we keep beating ourselves up on a daily basis. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too fat, etc., etc. All the things that happen, it's very easy to slip into that. It's just automatic, really. And as soon as be a little bit conscious of this, and as soon as it happens, replace it with these words: I'm a beautiful, kind, amazing, smart person. I'm a beautiful, kind, smart, amazing person. I'm a beautiful, smart, kind, amazing person. Yeah. And then in the morning, when you get up and getting ready for school or whatever activities you have to get ready for, look at yourself in the mirror. Connect your eyes with the mirror and say this out loud. I do this. I really do. Is hello, beautiful. I love you. Do that every day for the rest of your life. And what happens, kind of like magic happens over time. You might not believe it, because I know a lot of us, we put ourselves down so much. Yeah. And it happens, or we put down other people. Gossip, they say, is the worst bad medicine that there is. Gossiping. Yeah. So just be careful what comes out of your mouth, because what we say is power. It changes things. And once it's out, can't come back. So just change those words and do a daily practice of self-love, and be kind to yourself. And in this way, you can be so kind and helpful to others that need that help. And the work that you do for the water, or for the environment, or for the people in general, you'll be able to do it as a happy, healthy, balanced person yourself. And that's when we can return to balance in this world. So, the elders also said, they left us with a message of hope. And they said, the water, the people that are born today, that includes you, me, and your children's and grandchildren, we are born with the knowledge that will help this world. That does not just Indigenous, but all nations. And I'm finding that too. In fact, I spent the morning with a group out of the Peel region in North Toronto, and those young people are. I sat with the grade school kids, and then middle school kids, like 7 and 8s. Amazing. And over my experience working with students in university and college, they already know. Sometimes I'm just reminding what they already know. And I always leave them with a message of hope, because if you feel defeated already, why do you even bother? Yeah. So this is they said the balance will return, and we will work together to make sure it happens. So it is going to happen. And the work such as the Sacred Water Circle and other groups that I have encountered in various levels of government as well, we have worked together, and some of the projects that we put on have really helped a lot to do that work. And that includes research, health promotion, environmental work, and just overall me doing these type of teachings, and like and we pair up, we partner with other groups. um, for our grandchildren is one group that does climate change advocacy for water. Let me see who else. Association of Iroquois and Allied Indians. We're working together and putting up a calendar of water quotes, water pictures, along with water quotes on a monthly basis and weekly basis over a 12-month period. We were supposed to have our official launch, but we got behind things. So it'll be ready by June the latest, and it'll go over 12 months. So look for that. And we produce some videos with different organizations such as Peterborough Green Up. And yeah, look on our website, sacredwatercircle.ca, and you will see a couple of the videos and all the videos that we took of all those beautiful elders, except the Hopi. The Hopi people did not want to be filmed of any kind, and that happens. That's okay, and so we respected their wishes, and so. But the Hopi people were there, and to us, Hopi people are held in highest regard, because even though their villages, their mesas, they call them, are located in the center of the most industrialized nation in the world, the United States of America, they still continue to this very day weekly, monthly, and yearly ceremonies. Yeah, so they deserve a lot of respect and honor for the work that they do. So we had a Hopi elder that came and spoke to us about the Hopi's respect for water. So much so that, they can grow corn in the deserts. How can you grow corn? It's the most thirsty plant going, but they can grow 4 different kinds of varieties of corn. Yeah, and all they use is a stick, a planting stick, their seeds from the previous year, and prayers. It's amazing. It's a miracle. So that's the story of creation. Those four creative creations of water: Nunzi Wabo, Mite Wabo, Dodo Wabo, Misko Wabo. And then I'm going to share a song, that Nibis song. And if you know this song, or if you want to learn this song as well, you can go to what do they call them? Water walks. Grandmother's people. She Great Lake Water Walks. That song, as originally recorded, is on there, and but also the link is on our website, sacredwatercircle.ca, and you can learn it. The words are there too. When I first brought this song, nobody knew it, but I promoted it, and everybody just saw how beautiful this song was. Now, both native and non-native people sing this quite regularly in public gatherings and in ceremony. The song, everybody knows it now, pretty much. It's getting better well known. And it's a lullaby and a direction of love towards water. And it says in English, water, I love you. Water, I thank you. Water, I respect you. And this is sung 4 times. Nebe kisogego kimigwaj awene mego Gishawene mego nebe gisogego gimikwach awene mego Gishawene mego Nebe Miigwech awene me go. Gisha wene me go. Nebe gisa go. Gimme gwech awene me go. Gisha wene me go. Aha, me gwech, kanakana. Now, did I talk to you about copper already? Yeah, let me know. But if there's any questions that you may want to ask me about anything, doesn't have to be about water either. Yeah, copper. Well, among the Anishinaabe nations and other nations across Turtle Island, copper is held in highest regard as a sacred and spiritual metal that we use in spiritual divination. And so that means that the ones who were trained or knew, the medicine people who were the caretakers of the copper, they would use that to determine where was the best hunting grounds. They could communicate from one village to another. This was before cell phones and television and radio, you know, so they used copper. Yeah. Let me just see. My son just said that he'll be home for supper at 6 o'clock. Just kidding. I'm joking. I'm foolish. And anyways, and in the South America, their sacred metal is gold. One of those elders that we brought in from South America, he did say that when the Spanish conquistadors came into South America, they were shocked and overwhelmed to see the people. They were just covered in gold. Gold shoes, gold rings, gold headdresses. And these people were so spiritually connected that when they prayed and they meditated or whatever they called it, went into ceremony, they would actually float off the ground. And of course, the conquistadors, being Catholic, they thought this was double worship, and gold to them was precious money. So, and the rest is history. And so many of their gold items are in the museums now. Yeah. And the one other group that we brought in for South America, the Kogi people, they would do this one ceremony with gold thread, which would connect and reconnect all the spiritual people, spiritual entities of the land, the spiritual mother, and bring it back into focus here in this reality. So, you know, they would do that. And if you go to do Kogi, Kogi, you'll see that the video that they talked about that, you know. So we were really, really pleased to have those kind of powerful people involved in our gathering. And it took us 4 years to organize because it was so expensive. And when you're talking about Kogi people, you just do not pick up the phone and invite them or even send them an email, because these are very specifically traditional people that have never left their villages. In fact, they ran away from the Spanish and went to the mountains of the Sierra Nevada, and they blocked themselves away from civilization. It's only been in the last 15, maybe 20 years that they've come out and started finding out. They call us the little brothers, the little ones, because we're not as spiritually mature as they. apparently. They have very strict spiritual protocols, super strict. And yeah, so they came out to find out what the heck was happening, because their ceremonies and their daily prayers were not manifesting enough to be, and it was causing damage in their own homeland. So they had to come out and see what was happening for themselves. So when they came to this area, they couldn't speak English, but they could speak Spanish. They had to send some of their representatives out of their community to learn Spanish. So when they came here, people from Montreal spoke French, who spoke English, who spoke Spanish, and then were able to tell us what they said. It was very laborious communications with them. And so when we invited them for our gathering with the Sacred Water Circle, I had to find somebody who knew somebody who could travel to the jungles of Sierra Nevada, take a mule to their mountain, and ask permission to come into their community and invite them to our gathering in another continent. And it took them about 6 months to get back to us, because they don't actually just go ahead and say, yes, I'm going to say yes to this invitation. They don't do anything without doing divination. It's their words, divination. Speaking to the mother and ask the Mother Earth and the spirits of the land, can we leave, or should we accept this invitation? And they thought that they were given the answer yes, so we were quite privileged for that. And this gathering was in May, the early May, so it was still a little bit cool. And I told their people that was their helpers, make sure they have coats and they have pants and things that, so they don't it's cold. And they got off the limousine bus in their traditional outfits, which is pure white cotton that they harvest them. So it's not cotton, it's something else, but they're white outfits. And how they keep it white in the jungle, I have no clue, but they do. And yeah, in their sandals. Yeah, they were freezing. But they would not, they're so strict, they wouldn't even let us, we couldn't find any wool or cotton type of long underwear. They wouldn't put synthetic underwear on. But at the end of the 3 days, they certainly jumped into that pretty quick. And their son, every morning he would go down to the lake, and it was freezing temperatures, and he would jump in there. Yeah, so as a way to honor the water and for his own self-discipline. Yeah, so it was quite the gathering, I'm telling you. So their teachings are on that website if you want to hear what many of those elders have said about water. It's quite interesting. So thank you. Miigwech. Nawa.
Miigwech, Dorothy. I always love listening to you speak, always so uplifting. We do have a little bit of time for questions. If anybody did have any questions or comments, I've just got the one here asking how music affects the water. Chelsea Jane.
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
How music affects the water? Yeah. So that one scientist that I was telling you about, he did these experiments about exposing the water that he collected to different musics. So, good words, bad words, heavy metal music, rap with a lot of swear words in it, etc. Would cause the water to, when it was frozen, the crystals would be unbalanced, asymmetrical, and distorted. Yeah, but when they put any kind of soothing music, lullabies, classical, Japanese traditional, music, it would, the crystal would be beautiful. So Emoto, look that up too. Emoto, Emoto, scientist Emoto, and he'll show you the pictures that he took of the various experiments he did on that water. Yeah. So water is affected by our thoughts. Water is affected by our words and in how we express to the water. You're welcome, everybody.
Many wonderful thank yous popping in here. Many big miigwechis.
I see them, yes.
Heather asks, what did they use in winter full moon ceremony when they did not have strawberries?
Well, they wouldn't use them then. It was just a luxury between the months of, actually, actually they would dry strawberries. Isn't that right? They would dry the fruit and then they would use that. But near the end of the summer, of the winter months, food was, if they didn't prepare enough, it was kind of scarce. We have the luxury of strawberries because of, thanks to Mexico and South America and California. Yeah, we can get strawberries any old time. But isn't it the best strawberries? The strawberries that you can get, the first strawberries that do you ever go, the first batch of strawberries in June and July? Awesome.
Delicious. Diane asks, will you be having a water walk this year, Dorothy?
Well, actually, I do believe, I haven't heard the details. We're not, the Sacred Water Circle are not the ones that organize the water walks. We partner with the water walkers and we do a lot of work with them to make it happen. And this year, I understand we're going to be walking Pigeon Lake, and it's always Mother's Day weekend. And so Pigeon Lake in our area. So keep an eye out for that information. Once it becomes available, I'll make sure to send it to Jessica. And if you want to travel up to Pigeon Lake. Pigeon Lake is northwest of Peterborough. And the reason why we are doing Pigeon Lake in particular, because it is our largest black rice paddies there, grows there, and the local cottagers are really upset about how the rice beds have reestablished themselves there, and they want, excuse me, and they're fighting with us Native people, particularly locally, that want to get rid of that because it interferes with their water sports and their sea-doos and their motorboats, so. But yeah, that rice has always been there, but because of our own people reseeded it. Curve Lake people reseeded that place, including my father. Yeah, so it's fantastic. So we're in a effort to pray for that water, to pray for those rice beds. We are doing that water walk around Pigeon Lake.
Wonderful. It'd be nice if people were able to join you.
I hope so. I hope so.
Just one or two more questions here. Shelly Ann asks, do you have any water teachings regarding pregnancy or giving birth? Maybe that's a whole other topic for another day, but perhaps you could speak briefly to it.
Oh, well, briefly, I can say there's all kinds of, you might want to follow some of the midwives, Indigenous midwives. But when I was pregnant with my two boys, there were certain things that I wasn't allowed to eat and certain things I wasn't allowed to do. And I ate like an athlete, and I didn't drink coffee or tea. And then when I was sick, I would not even take aspirin or anything, or Tylenol, nothing. And anyways, in Curve Lake, we say when you're coming through the door of the threshold of into a house or home, or even into your bedroom or any kind of room, do not linger at the doorway, because that might become a hard birth for you, because the baby won't want to, will hesitate to come out. Another thing is, don't put your hands over your heads too much, because this will cause the umbilical cord possibly to around the neck of the baby, so it'll be stillborn. Don't eat any kind of meats that, particularly fish. We weren't allowed to eat muskellunge because it's a fierce fish, and that the baby who eats, the mother who eats the muskellunge will have a child with a bad temperament. Yeah, seriously bad temperament. And another thing was, we can't eat berries of any kind through our pregnancy, because they said there might be rose scars all over your face. So you might get a red patch on your face or around your face. Yeah, so don't eat. I never ate any strawberries or anything. My boys were born in January, both of them. And what else was there? When the baby is born, what comes out next is the placenta. After the baby's birth, placenta. And to us, it's not medical waste. It's very much a spiritual and physical connection to the baby. And so, because my babies were born in January, I wasn't able to bury that placenta immediately. I had to wait till the spring, and I planted a tree along with it. So my husband and I did that ceremony, and the reason for that is so that the baby won't have a wandering spirit, meaning that wherever that placenta is planted, then that's the baby's home. So for instance, Curve Lake, it's in my backyard. My boys plant sent us, and they they're very much connected to the First Nation, and when they go away, they can't wait to come home. They really want to come home, and they will come home. And so I did that. And then, of course, the baby should know the baby's clan, and have one of the grandparents, if they're Indigenous and knows the language, to give the baby a native name. So my father had that. I gave my dad tobacco, and he named both my boys. So they have proud names. So yeah, they know their clan, their father. They go by us Ojibways. We go through our father's side. So I'm White Porcupine. That was my dad's, but their father is the Otter clan. Yeah. So that's just a little bit about birthing.
Gosh. And perhaps this is a good place to finish up with Brenda's comment, and maybe we can hook Brenda up with you via email. But Brenda says, what if we work towards a national event for all cultures and people to have some kind of ceremonial water walk on the same day? Is someone already coordinating
Excellent
this?
idea.
Maybe I can ask elders in my area.
Yes, let's work on that. That might be, Sacred Water Circle. Maybe we can do that. Yeah, maybe we can work. I'll bring that up at our next Sacred Water Circle meeting. If we can coordinate it on a national scale, that would be really something fierce and good.